Habibis, I regret to inform you, we have some sad news to share. Jay, I hope you're ready for this.
Let me hear it.
David Hogg announced that he's not going to have kids. I'm devastated.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
David Hogg tweets out, "I'm not going to have kids in a country where they have less rights than their parents did and they aren't safe in their schools or community."
Do you know it's really? But actually, this is a net positive for society as a whole. Because
no, this is a net negative.
What I'm doing?
How are we going to cyberbully? How are we going to cyberbully David Hogg's kids?
That would be the first thing we did. It would be like 5 years old and we're cyberbullying this shit. Pull yourself. It would be hilarious. Look, I am consciously not wanting to have kids right now so I can skip a whole generation. I'm going to wait until I'm 65 years old and then start having kids so I can skip the whole thing.
You're going to have grandkids. That's smart. Skip kids, right to grandkids, right?
Exactly. So when I die, when I die at 12 as God Emperor of the United States, when I die when he's 12 and I'm God Emperor of the United States, I can pass it on to him like the Greek ancestors before us. And I can say this because like I'm Lebanese, like my full heritage goes all the way back to like Macedonia and shit, the Phoenicians and everything. So I have the blood of emperors in me. So when I go and kick down the doors of Congress and claim the seat like Napoleon before me did at 5'4", I will have the right in my blood to do so.
Alhamdulillah. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
For those of you who are not really familiar with that, particularly our audience on Rumble, we're just saying God is great. You know God, right?
Yeah, Allah.
Rory Metzger says Siraj and Jay at age 69 cyberbullying David Hogg's 5-year-old.
It would be fucking hilarious. I swear, it would be so good.
God. You know we do it too.
Absolutely. And the good thing is like when he has a kid, Elon Musk will be taking over Twitter and we'll be able to say whatever the fuck we want. Like I can't wait to puppeteer my dick saying fuck you, Brian Stelter.
While we wait to cyberbully David Hogg's kids, if he ever decides to have kids, apparently now people are being forced. There is a government mandate on having kids, Jay. You have to have kids. Everyone has to have kids. The government is forcing you to have kids, Jay.
Based as fuck.
Roe v. Wade has been overturned.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
So I want to tell you this, okay? Because there are many people who are butthurt. They're very salty.
They are.
I see these people, they say, oh, I cannot terminate. I cannot kill my baby. So I'm going to say women, they have no rights. And all I have to say to that, sir, is mashallah. Women finally have no rights. We are returning, sir, to Sharia.
I'm so happy that that's happening. And what's really hilarious, what's so funny is you have people who want to compare this to the Taliban, who want to compare this to Sharia, who are saying this is Catholic Sharia happening in the United States and everything. Who you have people who live in California saying they want to move to Canada, where overturning Roe v. Wade will do nothing to California. Do nothing. So, dude, it's infuriating.
Jay, what's so fucking funny about all this is that literally the people who have been the loudest about abortion and making sure that abortion remains in place are people who live in blue states where the laws aren't changing anyway. They will not. Right. Literally, their lives are not changing at all.
I'm so mad at this, I'm going to burn down LA. And I'm like, yes, do it. Burn it down.
I actually enlisted the help of Spencer on this to actually give us a layout of where abortion is banned. There was a ban that was blocked. There's severe restrictions coming up. or threatened, whatever the fuck that means. So all the states in green you see on your screen. I can't believe I fucking rhymed right there, but they allow that abortion is legal in 20 states and the District of Columbia. So in most states in the country, out of all of them, abortion is legal. And also has that probably the highest population density of all of these places.
Right. And it's like and it's hilarious because also when you see ban or severe restrictions soon or anything like that, it is funny to me because their severe restrictions are exactly what has happened in France, in Spain, in Portugal, and in Germany, like all of these places that they praise. It's so fun to watch, like Belgium and stuff. Belgium have severe restrictions on abortion, but the Belgian guy was like, look at the United States. I can't believe they make women like second class citizens. And you have dumb fuck libs just like retweeting these guys and being like, yes, and all this kind of stuff when they have more restrictions than what the Mississippi law wanted to pass. And that's the reason why Roe got overturned, is because of the Mississippi law that's banning it after 15 weeks.
Yeah, something like that. I think I know what Texas was. Is it 6 weeks or is it 12 weeks?
I don't know about Texas, but the Dobbs Mississippi was,
but like prior to Roe v. Wade being overturned, Texas was supposed to be like the most restrictive in terms of abortion.
And it was like 12 weeks,
something like that. Spencer tells me it's 6 weeks. Thank you, Spencer. But one thing I want to bring up, because I was reminded by this by a friend, because a lot of the focus is going to be shifting from, okay, in the cases where a woman is pregnant, they don't have the ability to, again, there is a desire to terminate the pregnancy by getting an abortion. But they live in a state where, say, abortion is banned, and so they have to carry out by having the child or giving birth to the child. What then, Jay? Where is the focus of the pro-life movement now? Is it focusing on adoption? Is it focusing on social welfare programs? Where should the focus be on? I mean, and I'm like genuinely asking, because I think it's important that for people who do have, say, unexpected pregnancies and abortion simply just is not an option for them, but they obviously don't have the financial resources to, say, care for the child and raise it. What then?
I wish I could say that like having the government involved in those things would help, but looking at how well that they fuck shit up, I don't even know if that's
like, do we lose restrictions on adoption? Like, because it's become pretty fucking difficult to adopt.
I think we need to loosen the restrictions on adoption. I think there needs to be tax credits on people who want to adopt children. I think there should be government assistance for mothers who are having the child, and real government assistance. The one way we can actually give real government assistance is getting rid of places like the Department of Education and getting rid of certain like money sucking institutions that do nothing to actually help raise children or help actually better motherhood or parenthood or any of these real issues that you're going to really need to help the mothers with. And I think that's a winning message when it comes to saying that there should be restrictions on abortion. If you want to restrict abortion, then yes, you need to be there saying that we are going to help these mothers with their children. You have to. You cannot just take it all away. You have to give something in return.
Right.
And you have to be very empathetic when it comes to these issues. I think you should, because it's absolutely a very, very polarizing issue. It's an issue that is very emotional, especially to the woman who is having the child. And you need to be empathetic, and more empathetic than the other side, because the other side likes to just fucking parade abortions. They like to announce abortions and party abortions and celebrate abortions. And that's where they're losing because of that. They are turning people away because of how they want to celebrate abortion. And for the other side, it shouldn't go the other way. And they shouldn't be all smug about it or anything. Mm-hmm. There needs to be some empathy moving forward when it comes to this. That's what I believe.
There have been reports, and I mean, I'll say my piece and then I'll ask the next question. So I do agree on the idea that we do need to make it easier for families to access these public benefits through these social programs, whether that be TANF, that's the temporary assistance for needy families, SNAP. You have what was it? I think they were looking at extending paid family leave or paid childcare, whatever I can't exactly recall. This shit's expensive, Jay. It's not cheap to raise a child in the United States. I think most people who are watching this probably understand that. Of course, there is a fine line, a balancing act in terms of when do you demand that the public pay for someone having a child versus the onus being on the actual parent themselves for raising that child. And I've thought a lot about this because obviously the idea of raising taxes to, say, expand these programs sounds like a very tall ask, especially in today's society where inflation is skyrocketing, gas prices are going higher. Basically, more and more people are still out of work, despite the fact that Biden has been bragging about a roaring economy and record job growth and all that bullshit. There are a lot. If you are actually live in real America, which I'm sure most of you do, that there's shortages all over the place, not just from supply chain shortages, but personnel shortages because people just don't want to work. Now, if you think about where our current taxpayer money is going to, it's going to things like defense, it's going to things like, NIH, it's going to things like, scientific research, you name it. In the midst of all of this, Jay, and correct me if I'm wrong, didn't Congress approve raising their own salary?
They did.
In the pandemic?
They did.
Huh. That's fascinating.
It is. And then they
do you think we should just I think honestly we should, if we were going to reappropriate money, we should focus on basically ensuring that every single public servant who works in the federal government, particularly elected officials like senators and congressmen and women, are capped at fucking what? What were we gonna say?
It was really. It's funny because you're like congressmen and then just and women. It just sounds like women as a whole need to have their all women. They have to have their salaries really restricted.
People keep talking about shrinking the gender wage gap. No, we need to widen that shit.
Absolutely, fuck it. I mean, we're paying way too much money to women and stuff. And
their tiny lady brains can't compute it anyways, Jay. Also, we're giving billions in aid to Ukraine. We are literally fighting other people's wars, and we're too busy fighting. Each side is fighting each other about expanding, child tax credits or anything in relation to expanding resources to families. We don't need to raise a single dime in taxes. You could throw all the money in the world at a particular problem, but if it's not being appropriated correctly, you're never going to fucking solve it.
Right.
And what I am proposing is appropriation reform, particularly cultural appropriation reform. So that means every single person in Congress and the Senate has to convert to Islam.
I'm with you 100% because then we can pay zakat, and zakat is a very
very halal.
It's a very, and it's also a really nice system on a way that society is supposed to help each other. But I'm with you, especially when it comes to Congress, because you have all of these politicians whining, and especially politicians that were still in power, able to codify Roe, but didn't. Why? Because it's a fucking cash cow. Because they can keep running it. And also before, they believed that after Obama became president, that Republicans will never be elected again. That Republicans will never have power again or anything. So they became lazy. But it's like the main characteristic of people in Congress is being lazy. The main characteristic of them is not doing their job. The main characteristic of them is just trying to get one of theirs elected as president so they can pass all of these executive actions and stuff and just run on that instead of doing their actual job. Instead of actually find compromise and find bipartisan solutions to things. We are in a very populist state of mind in this country now where everything is one way or another. There's no middle ground anymore.
Right.
Everything is very, very populist. Everything is very, very, very divided. Nobody wants to work with anyone anymore. They want to just keep it as divided as possible. So the two party that we have right now is I think on the verge. But back to, I mean, we went way off course. But back to the situation you were saying, I agree with you, and I think we should take and get rid of certain government institutions to help with others.
So you said
stuff that's failing.
You mentioned getting rid of the Department of Education. What in particular is it about? I mean, I know the Department of Education sucks ass, but like
we spend on taxpaying.
Where would you whatever purpose that they originally were intended to serve? What do you see replacing that?
It's gone. I would see something replacing it as in the dollars going back to the parents, going back to the people in society to make their own choices with it. I mean, the reports that come out are insane. Like, for example, it says that we spend $20,000 per student per year in public education through K through like middle school.
And we literally have the dumbest children alive.
Absolutely. They're fucking dumb as shit. But imagine if you will, instead of it going and being funneled into a place where they're like grooming kids to chop off their own dicks, that money, $20,000, so a family of 3, $20,000, that's $60,000 a year extra going into that family's pocket, where they will be able to redistribute it where they want to. So they can go have more school choice. They'll have more choice on where they want to spend their dollars, be able to help. Because there's a problem in this country when it comes to the government. We have no responsibility given to authority. The authority figures are not responsible for the failures that they do in the name of the government. We have the worst literacy rate among all developed countries.
If you're wondering why Jay stopped talking, it's because I literally found footage. We have him right here, officer. Get him. The FBI.
Holy shit.
Mujahed Kobbe bombed the Department of Education. We knew it would happen.
That is amazing. This is what I mean. Like before, when this first came out, you writing this wouldn't come up with anything. It would not come up with anything. But we have made it smart enough that it can do this. That's what's amazing here. But the thing is if a charter school, for instance, had the same ratings as public schools in this country, they would be shut down. We do not put performance as a metric where we are holding accountability to public schools.
That is the wildest thing. Literally everything in the United States, if it's private, specifically private, if it's failing, if it's not making enough money, if it is producing terrible results, like say for example, your kids are ending up like what I said this before, but it's that Mark Twain quote. It's like if you don't read the newspaper, you're misinformed. If you are if you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read the newspaper, you're misinformed. That is our school system right now. We are literally making kids dumber by going to school, particularly public school. And Jay, as you were saying, if that happened with any other industry, those places would be shut down until we could figure out what the hell is going on.
Right. I mean, the results that we get out of these institutions are not a net positive. They're not. They're a net negative. And even now, after we did the shutdowns that the teachers' unions really wanted to push and that were supported by the administration, put these already failing fucking students in a 2-year learning deficit. Already, and we paid the salaries to these teachers to do this. To damage our fucking the new generation of children. We paid them to fuck them over.
And sometimes literally, considering how many pedos are there.
Absolutely. And that's why I say, like, paying taxes is an immoral act because the government uses your taxpayers' dollars to fucking make students dumber, protect police that kill and harm people in the public, to protect teachers that do absolute jack shit, to help fund us going to Iraq and killing millions of innocent people, to help fund and give money to Russia for oil that turns out to fund them attacking Ukraine, where we're actually going to give $80 billion to. Like, it is a fucking scam beyond belief.
Okay, just real quick, just to answer Sarah Johnson's question, what kind of shirt is Siraj wearing? What shirt? What shirt are you talking about? I'm not wearing a shirt.
I don't see any shirt. What shirt is he wearing? I see no shirt on his body.
There's a zero shirt.
There's no shirt.
The shirts don't exist where we are.
Nope.
By the way, Jay, this actually produced pretty good results. Spencer, you want to get rid of the banner real quick just so that people can see this? I think the best one is this one. That's Mujahed Kobbe marrying the head of the teachers union, Randy Weingarten.
Yeah, it's all part of the plan in order to be able to take it away from her. I will take it away from her. Jesus Christ. That's
like probably eat that.
I would. And that looks like Biden. Biden would be
that looks like you with hair. Mashallah. When did you grow hair back?
When I was like 16. That was the last time I had hair. And that's actually my hairline when I was a kid. That's how, like, you can see it's like this. That's how it would have been if I still had hair. But it's gone. It is all gone.
Cold Beer says, "Hey Siraj, be careful with your shirt off. With your short off. Now that you have a baby face, the Lincoln Projects will be right behind you." Oh, shit. Habibi.